On today's show, we're tackling a Houston Rockets NBA grid. Who's the most underrated player on the roster? What about the most overrated player? Who's the best? Who's the worst? Who's the funniest? All 16 categories. It's all coming up on today's Locked On Rockets.
This is Mission Control, Houston.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up and welcome to another edition of Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. As always, I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, native Houstonian and credentialed media member. I'm also the host of Locked On NBA Mondays. Be sure to follow along wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Just search Locked On Rockets. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for making Locked On Rockets part of your day every single day, whether it's on your way to work, on your lunch break, in the gym. Thank you for being an everydayer. Joining us now is your weekly co-host, NBA draft enthusiast, and diehard Houston Rockets fan, Madison Moore. You can track down on Twitter at MadmanLeaks. Here for we're going to have some fun on today's episode. I'm going to be completely upfront with you guys. We are, there is not going to be, well, there may be a little hard-hitting analysis as we navigate through this episode, but there has been this, Madison, I'm sure you've seen it, right? The NBA grid that has been floating around on social media and in different, different environments. And so we're going to have a little fun with it here on the show. My original idea was for us to do this, and I posted it on the YouTube page, and we were gonna fill it out over time, and we're gonna do it Rockets all time. And honestly, I love you guys. It kind of flopped day one. So we're going to do it here on the show instead. And we're going to focus on the current roster. So we're going to navigate through like the most underrated, the most overrated, who's the best, who's the worst, who's the funniest. And we're going to get through all 16 of these categories for all of the current active Houston Rockets roster. Madison, are you ready to upset some people and get into this, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, if you're watching on YouTube, there's going to be some production value on this show, so I recommend flying over there because we've got the grid. We've got the grid in front of us, and we're going to fill it up with players as we navigate through this episode. So the very first category that we have for you right now is the most underrated. So Madison, we're going to tackle this. We're going to discuss each of these categories. We're going to come to hopefully a conclusion here, and you guys can judge us or love us for our choice, hate us or love us for our choices. Let's go. Most underrated on this roster. What are we thinking, Madison?
Man, so I was looking at this one and I was thinking Jock Landale. And the reason I say Jock Landale is because he had a real tough beginning to middle stretch of the year. About 75% of his year was really, really tough. He was coming off an injury. He was underperforming. But when Alperen went down, man, like Jock Landale really came on and like was the player that we thought we were getting. And then he's had like an excellent Olympics. Like Jock Landale has like become a real guy in the Olympics and for the Olympic team. And, with the addition of Steven Adams and with Alperen, he's become kind of an afterthought in our minds. But I'm like, Jock Landale still might have like some real juice and might be really fighting for some rotational minutes. So that was kind of my thinking for most underrated.
Okay, I like that one. I went with a little bit of a similar kind of, I didn't go with Jock, but I went with another vet on the roster. I went with Aaron Holiday here, right? Like okay, Aaron Holiday, I feel like he stepped up in such a big way last season. And, nobody, like Aaron Holiday was signed as like your third string, like insurance policy, backup guard. And he wound up playing a really prominent role in the Rockets rotation. And even then, like when he got re-signed and everything, I saw a lot of fans like, who cares? Like whatever, like Aaron Holiday might actually still like get some spot minutes here and there. And he's a good vet to have around. So genuinely, I felt like he kind of fit that underrated role really well. I like your pick of Jock Landale though. So I think we're going to go with that for this very first category. So if we're watching on YouTube, you pull the producer strings here a little bit. Oh, he popped up in the wrong side of the map. All right, there we go. Hang on. We line him up right there at the top. Boom. All right. Most underrated on the roster, Jock Landale. We got one category done, 15 more to go. Next one, and this might be the one that ruffles some feathers. Most overrated on the roster. Now here, I'm not going to make you go first, Madison.
Yeah, don't make me go first.
All right. I'm going to take this one in a different direction. I think anybody thinks I'm going to go with this one. I'm going with AJ Griffin as most overrated on the roster. And hear me out, right? When this trade happened, people were putting and we're saying that the Rockets had a core 8. They had the graphics with AJ Griffin included, or the core 7, and I was looking at that, And my eyes rolled into the back of my head, Madison, because this guy is the biggest, like, again, low risk, high reward. Look, it'd be great if AJ Griffin pans out for the Houston Rockets, but nobody, and I'm going to repeat this, nobody should be holding their breath for AJ Griffin, especially after the Summer League performance that we saw. There's a reason he fell out of the rotation in Atlanta. There's a reason the Hawks let the Rockets basically have him for nothing. So, maybe it works out. And again, I'd be excited if it did. I was incredibly high on him on draft night. I would have loved for him to become a Houston Rocket back then, but it worked out really well with Tari Eason. So AJ Griffin is my pick for most overrated on the roster.
I think that one might win. I mean, but I have a very controversial, most overrated. This is my most controversial one. Okay, and I was really struggling with it, but I went with Thompson. And just hear me out. Just wait. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. He's actually, an excellent player, wonderful player with this sky high potential, right? But I think he gets into the most overrated conversation when people actually start talking about his potential. They talk about him like his potential is limitless. And there's like real key deficiencies in Amon's game before he is kind of talked about in this sense as like the best player ever, the highest potential on the team. And there's like, but he also has some of the biggest weaknesses on the team too, some of the hardest to fix weaknesses. And I feel like people kind of just gloss over that when they talk about his potential. Like those weaknesses aren't some of the biggest weaknesses you can have with his shooting. And also, I think a very underrated weakness for him, and some people don't think it's a weakness at all, is his handle. Like I've talked to real, diehard fans, diehard analysts who just scoff at the handle, like, no, there's no problem there. And I feel like the way people talk about him, they just see the athleticism, see the electrifying player, and just kind of gloss over his weaknesses and kind of put him in a tier above above other guys. When I feel like, hey, if we're being honest, if we're really projecting forward, like, it's going to be tough for that shot to come around. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on that handle. You know what I mean? So let's just, calm it down. So that's where it comes from. Not that Amon's going to be a great player, going to be a borderline all-star player at the very least. But my gripe comes when people just pencil him in as this superstar player. I'm going to get killed for this, but hey, we're having some fun. You are absolutely going to get destroyed for that, and yeah, I'm gonna save you, and I'm gonna save me. I'm executive. Yeah, AJ Griffin's going up on the screen. If I put Thompson on this graph, and no, my goodness. Put AJ Griffin up there.
Oh man!
But
right.
Food for thought, guys. Food for thought.
All right, AJ Griffin has made it onto the graph for most overrated. I'm saving Madison and I the flack from when I eventually post this to social media. All right. We got a couple more that we're going to get to in this segment before moving on to the next categories. We got best player on the roster. I feel like this has got to be a pretty easy answer, right?
Yeah, man. Alperen Sengun. I think we enough said. That's just what it is. It's Alperen Sengun.
Hey, Houston fans. I am so happy.
There we go. All right, we're going to be real easy with that one. Alp gets the nod for best player on the roster. We're going to line him right up in there. Nice and easy. All right, this one probably a little bit harder to figure out. Worst player on the roster right now. Now, I feel like there could be a very easy out to this, and you pick like one of the two-way guys. We're going to limit it to the standard NBA contracts. So worst player on the roster of the standard contracts. I can take it first if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead, because I definitely got two-way guys.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead. No, yeah, that's all right. I'm a double check.
It pains me to do it.
Oh no, I know exactly who I'm picking.
You said it with so much confidence. I'm gonna have to go with Jae'Sean Tate. I'm gonna have to go with Tate. I'm gonna have to go with Tate. And it's not that he is the worst of the active roster. There's a reason that we really didn't see him except for spot minutes last season when injuries were racking up, whatever. There's a reason he's no longer part of the rotation. He's a 6'4" wing that still can't really shoot the ball. He can play make, he can defend, he can do a little bit of everything on the floor. But unfortunately for this Rockets roster, I think he's probably down there at the bottom. Now, I could have probably gone for AJ Griffin in this mention as well, but I feel like that's some very low-hanging fruit when I start looking at some of these other categories, because we got another category later on that I might have to save AJ Griffin for, and I can't fill up half this chart with AJ Griffin. That'd be just bullying at that point.
No, yeah, I would have picked AJ as well, just because he actually does have a roster spot, and I just feel like Jae'Sean's probably a little smarter.
That's fair. Jae'Sean Tate is a better NBA player than AJ Griffin. That's not fair.
Come on, man. Like,
all right,
especially after the summer league we just watched. Come on now.
All right. Okay, fine. All right. AJ Griffin wins. It's so awkward too because he's still wearing the Hawks jersey in this. So like I'm just dragging like Hawks AJ Griffin onto this graph over and over. We're going to have to figure out the over-under on how many times AJ Griffin's going to be on the rest of this chart. Hey, you know what? We're going to figure that out on the other side. Coming up, we've got who's the funniest, who's the most annoying, the most potential, the most wasted potential, and so many other categories we're going to get to. We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything that you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts that you need at the prices that you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. And continuing on here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball, where we're filling out our Houston Rockets NBA grid. We've already tackled most underrated, that's Jock Landale. Most overrated, AJ Griffin. Best player, Alperen Sengun. Worst player, AJ Griffin yet again. We got to set this over under. How many more times do we think we're going to use AJ Griffin on this chart, Madison? I think it's going to be at least one more time.
Yeah, I think he's going to make another appearance, dog.
All right. Okay.
And
all
not
right.
for the good reason.
Oh, man. Okay. Let's get into it. Who do we think is the funniest player on the roster?
I think this was pretty easy. I think there's a couple of options, but I think there's a clear winner here, and that's Tari Eason. Like, bro, Tari is hilarious, whether it be in-game, whether it be on social media, whether it be on the TikTok or the streaming services. He's dancing. He always making people laugh. Got plenty of nicknames for everybody on the team. I think it's clearly Tari, bro.
It is one. I am 100% in agreement with you. It's got to be Tari Eason. I still remember one of my favorite moments from this past season with Tari was after a game. Actually, was it this past season? It might have been, it might have been his rookie season. Now I'm blanking on getting my timelines all fuzzy, but it was a game against the Orlando Magic, and he had basically clamped somebody on a possession, and maybe it wasn't even the Magic. He clamped somebody on a possession. I think it was Jonathan Isaac, So I think it was the Magic. Mm-hmm. Clamped this guy, and then dude throws up a prayer at the end of the shot clock from like the top of the key, and it goes in. And you can see they were jawing back and forth a little bit. So I asked him after the game about that moment. I'm like, when you are, D'ing up a guy and you got him like dead to rights, you got him locked down, and then he puts a shot up like that. What's your reaction? And you could tell like he was processing it real time, thinking back to that moment. You could see like this big grin pop up on his face, and he goes, "Man, I just told him God loves you." And then he circled back and he said Isaac whispered back to him, "God loves all of us." And so,
oh my God.
It was such a funny moment. We all lost it in the media scrum. Tari is absolutely hilarious. I love that pick. We're going with him as the funniest guy on the roster. Let's label him. Let's drag his little head down here. All right, perfect. Tari Eason, your funniest Houston Rocket. All right, next category. Most annoying.
I think this was very easy.
This is an easy one.
This is super easy. Dillon Brooks, man.
Oh, man.
Mr. Annoying.
Dillon the villain.
Dillon, literally the villain. Whether he's annoying players by staring at them in the sidelines or all up in their face during the game, or annoying us with his shot selection.
Dude, right? I'm telling you. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Whether it's Dillon on or off the court, nobody has the antics down like Dillon Brooks. Dude, even the Olympics, right? right? Where during the qualifier game between USA Canada or whatever, or the friendly match, him walking in front of Anthony Edwards mid interview, and Ant just paused for a second and like looked over at him and just. Nobody. Yeah, he is 99th percentile. He's top 2 and he's not number 2 when it comes to annoying people.
Right, Dillon is like top 2 in the league, let alone the Rockets.
Oh man! All right, next category we got most potential. There are a lot of guys that could fit this category on the roster. I'll let you take first stab at it. Who you got?
Yeah, I think this is where we'll diverge. I think most potential.
He's going to come out and say Amin Thompson after saying he was the most overrated on the roster. Watch, it's going to happen.
Not happening. No, for me, most potential still goes to Jalen Green.
Yeah, we didn't diverge. That was my pick as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it is still Jalen Green. I mean, even though he has these incredible downs, he has also equally incredible ups, and those ups look like a top 5 player in this league. So if a lot goes into, hey, do the Rockets have their number 1 guy, and there's a guy on our team with the potential to be a number 1. So
absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more, right? It's first off, it's a guards league in today's NBA, right? That's one advantage that Jalen's always going to have over a guy like an Alperen Sengun, right? Is there's maybe a certain limit that you can get unless you're a guy that can, bring the ball up and initiate the offense for yourself. Like even Jokic to an extent, right? The Nuggets still have to play around him and they still have to have an elite guard to pair with him in Jamal Murray to really be the best version of themselves. I think it's very clear right now, Jalen Green, most potential on this Rockets roster. If he hits his like top tier outcome, right? If that's still on the table and still a possibility, that is a future perennial all NBA caliber player, all-star every year. And that's why Rockets fans are still holding out hope that he can reach some level of that upper end outcome. Absolutely. All right. I think we're getting ready for a three-peat here, Madison. Next up is most wasted potential. I feel bad doing this. This is just cyberbullying at this point. This is not good. This is not a good look.
He was a lottery pick, man. He was a lottery pick.
No, he was just outside the lottery, because Tari was 17. He was 16. He was right before Tari Eason to the Atlanta Hawks.
Right.
So just outside the lottery.
Well, I'm
trying to save him just a little bit here.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But yeah, no, it has to be AJ Griffin. I mean, I feel like the jury's still out, though. You know what I mean? He's still on his rookie contract. But for a team to give up on you for a second round pick, and you were a highly touted first round pick, I think there's some questions about your potential, waning. And that performance in summer league is definitely trending down.
And at the end of the day, too, with let me slide him up just a little bit. You blocking some of the letters on there, AJ? There we go. All right. Look, so got to get the chart right. The production value got to be perfect on the show. Look, at the end of the day, right? Nobody's writing him off quite just yet. It's just, and hopefully the spinning this in the most positive light possible, right? Is that this is, sometimes you just need a fresh change of scenery, right? Sometimes you just need a new team, a new situation, and you get some buy-in from a new coach. You get that confidence back, right? We know he can play. There's a reason he was a highly touted prospect. There was a reason that internally the Rockets were really excited about AJ Griffin, and they would have been ecstatic with AJ or Tari at pick 17. They just so happen to get Tari. And I think so far that looks like a really, really great outcome for the Rockets, but now they have another chance to maybe, rehabilitate his value a little bit. Maybe he does find himself with the Rockets, and then the Rockets would have one of the most young, exciting wing rotations in the NBA if AJ Griffin does pan out. So again, we've been cracking some jokes, but we got to have some reality in here as well.
And let's be real, he's a young player. That the potential is not wasted yet. He's a young player, and he still has a lot of improvement to go. And the jury's not out. We could come back looking, real dumb for having him here.
All right. I don't think he's going to win out totally, though, because there's there's more positive categories as we're wrapping up we're not halfway through the chart. But our next category, and I think this is probably going to be a slam dunk, but best passer on the roster.
Yeah, man. I think the best passer has to go to Alp. I think he's about to start having some competition, though. I think it's some new guys on this team that's going to give Alp a run for his money. Amon and
Reed Shepherd.
Yeah, and Reed Shepherd. They're going to start giving him a run for his money. But right now, with actual NBA played minutes, it's definitely Alperen Sengun.
All right, we got to go with Alp. I mean, dude, his highlight reel of passes through his first 3 years in the NBA, it's absolutely absurd. We saw We saw fewer of them this past season. I think a big part of that was him learning to be a little bit more controlled, right? Ime talked about, trying to rein him in a little bit. He said he's had some Manu Ginobili to his game a little bit at times, and some of that recklessness, right? You got to let a player play to those strengths, because that's, the unpredictability of some of what LP does is what makes him special, especially with the passing. But you've also got to learn to rein some of that in. That's where, caused some of his sloppy turnovers the first couple of years. So I think there's a fine balance to hit when you're looking at things like that. Next category we got before we move on to our final segment, best perimeter defender.
Hands down, I'm in Thompson.
There we
That's
go.
where the potential really is, man. Like this dude, elite defender already, and he's going to get even better. And with the way he processes the game, we kind of talked about this in a past episode, but Amon really has, all-star upside defense on the defensive end, and it starts with the perimeter defense. I wouldn't be surprised if Amon gets enough minutes this year. I say if he clears 30 minutes, he'll be an all-team defensive player.
Ooh, yeah. That is a spicy take.
For sure.
If he clears 30 minutes, now that's the problem is, I'm going to spoiler alert right now, he's probably not clearing 30 minutes a night. Unless Dillon Brooks gets moved expeditiously, Thompson is not clearing 30 minutes a night. But that is a distinct possibility later on this season. That starting 3 spot is not, I would not say that it is locked down permanently for the future. There is a very high probability that Dillon Brooks could be on the move, and then one of Tari, Eason, or Thompson entering that starting position. Coming up, we've got the rest of our categories to get to, things like best rim defender, most athletic, best handles, best shooter, and a couple other categories. We're going to get there in just one moment. And final segment here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. Working on our Houston Rockets NBA grid. We've got 6 categories left. The next one that we have up is the best rim defender. This one, I feel like there's not a clear...
I think there's a clear one. There's a clear one, Jackson.
Is your clear one Amin?
No, but I did think about adding him in.
See, that's why I was like, I don't think it's a clear one, because
I think it's a clear, but I'm not thinking about last year. I'm thinking about going forward, this current roster, and it's definitely Steven Adams. Like,
you know what? All right, that's fair. I'll give you that. Okay,
it's Steven Adams.
I was caught up in thinking about last season.
Last year, right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, no, we have a roster now.
You know what's funny too is we didn't even give Steven Adams half a thought when we did the funniest on the roster. He is absolutely, if we do this again down the line at some point, Steven Adams is 110% giving Tari Eason some run for his money as the funniest guy on the roster.
We did, yeah. We didn't even think, and we should have probably gave Boban an honorable mention this too, because Boban's no longer on the roster. I understand.
Okay,
I understand. But that's why I said honorable mention, because he's been with the team. But cool.
I'm gonna have to go I'm gonna go find Boban's headshot and just I'll plop him like right behind Tari, like peeking over his shoulder or something when we publish this officially. I like the Steven Adams pick. You're right. We haven't seen him play in a Rockets jersey yet. We've only interviewed him. I think he's only spoken to the media like twice, honestly, since he got traded. Actually, it might have only been one time. Because again, there's not an expectation when you're injured. You don't have to do media, but he was willing to do it. It's a very kind gesture for him. So okay, I like that. Best rim defender, Steven Adams. I'm cool with that. Most athletic. Easy.
Very easy. I'm a Thompson. I'm sorry.
You think he's more athletic than Cam and Jalen?
Yes.
Okay. You think it's so easy. Like I'm thinking these guys are all at least within range of each other. You're just going like hands down Amin Thompson. That's crazy.
No, Jalen is completely easy if you compare to Jalen, because Jalen can't jump from a standstill.
Oh, are we gonna bring back are we bringing back our functional athleticism argument?
Well, not even functional. I mean, that's just if you just non-running vertical, if you just jump straight up and down, Jalen cannot do the same things. Whoa!
Put some respect on the man who posted the highest vert at the NBA draft combine, Reed Shepherd.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, little arm Reed.
And the fact that he even said he cheesed the system, right, by swinging his arms up. He was like, I got an extra couple inches. Oh, man. Okay, all right. You know what? Fine. All right, Amin Thompson. I'm cool with that. He is an insane athlete. That's part of the appeal. And you know what? That's cool because that means he's got 2 appearances on this list. Could have been 3 if Madison had his way, if he wanted to piss everybody off. we could have saved AJ Griffin some grief, but Madison would have been in a pot of boiling water.
I was really just trying to protect AJ. He was already on the list so many times, guys.
There you go. That's
what this was really about.
It was an altruistic gesture. You say, you know what? I'm making sure. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get to the next one. Best handles on the roster. I kind of think this is a little bit of a toss-up. And I think it's 2 clear guys that it could be. I think it's got to be between Fred and Jalen, right?
Yeah, Jalen, I think, has a chance to surpass Fred. But Fred's handle is just tight. He's not doing nothing crazy with it, but it's just tight. It's trustworthy. You know what I mean? When you think about that's the most important thing. But I know when people say handle, they want the crossovers, and that's Jalen. But I think a sneaky guy who deserves consideration is Alp. I think Alp's handle is underrated, bro. Like I think Alp really has a good handle on him. But I think we got to go with Fred. He's the floor general. He deserves to be on this.
You know what? We'll give it to Fred. I'm with you on that. I agree. He's got the best, the safest handle for sure. And Fred still hits, he hits a little sauce sometimes. Like it's not, he's got a little shiftiness to him sometimes. But you're right. Jalen's the guy who'll have the crazy, drive from one end of the court to the other and cut through like 4 defenders, and he'll have like that highlight reel play where you're like, how did he even get the ball to the rim? And then Alp, you're right. I think Alp's though, it's less about the handle for Alp and more just about his finesse and his footwork, which makes the handle look insane when he does some of the stuff that he does. But great honorable mention there. I like that one. We'll give this honor to Fred, though. Let me post Fred up here. All right, drag him in there. Boom. Best handles goes to Steady Freddy. All right. Best shooter on the roster. This one should be no contest at this point.
Yeah, man, we got to go ahead and give it to the young bull.
There we go.
Reed. Come on, Reed.
Step on down, sir. Hasn't played a single minute in the NBA, and he's already win it there. He won himself a spot right there. Best shooter on the roster. No questions about it. I will say, let's do, if we pretend for a second, Reed Shepherd, who's the second best shooter on the roster? You're giving it to Fred right out of the gate? It does.
Freddie is putting them up. He putting them up on high volume. You know what I mean? Freddie V off the catch, off the dribble, all versions.
All right. Who? You know what? Then I'm gonna ask this. We're gonna get a little fun with this. By the end of this upcoming season, who do we think the second best shooter on the roster is? If we just assume it's gonna be Reed Shepherd, you still think it's gonna be Fred, or you think it's gonna be somebody else?
I think it could be Jabari.
Ooh.
I think it could be Jabari. I think Jabari's like slowly trending up. Like he's slowly getting better at everything.
He's gonna get back. He's gonna get back to that 40% from college, and I'm gonna be like, I told all of you guys, you all doubted.
I think he's gonna be back at the 40%, but the year after this, I think he's gonna be like 40% on 8 attempts. Like he's gonna be good. He's gonna be putting them up.
Oh man. All right. Well, now you got me all excited thinking about Jabari Smith Jr. hitting 40% from 3. Anyways, all right, we got 2 more categories to get to. Best in the post.
Do we even have?
Oh boy, we don't even have to. Where's the?
We don't even have to say the name.
Where's the?
If you're listening, you know.
What else do I have? Alperen Sengun. Always. It's just gotta hit every sound.
Oh hell yeah!
I forgot I had that one.
Oh hell yeah!
There we go. Oh hell yeah! What else do I have on here?
Oh man,
hang on.
Yeah, I did some bullshit.
That's Alp whenever he's in the post, he's making a move.
Yeah, I did some bullshit.
I think you're frozen.
Oh man, nah, you froze on your end.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Yeah, you froze. No, you're back now. It's all good. We just leave it all in. I can't cut out the Alp sound bites. All right, so we're gonna anoint Alperen Sengun best in the post. No contest there. Although I think I would say if we're going second place, best in the post,
Jabari.
I would go Jabari. Yeah, his back to the basket game is actually pretty clean.
Man, Jae'Sean Tate.
That was going to be my sneaky one just to piss a bunch of people off. I was going to be like, hey, Jae'Sean Tate with the footwork, though.
Yeah, he got the footwork and the good little Jimmy over the right.
The little left-handed scoop. I'm so sorry. The fact that you know, and that everybody is the worst kept secret. If Jae'Sean Tate is posting you up, he's going to get back to the left hand at some point. He might take about 14 pivots to do it, but he's getting back to the left hand point. And he's going to score on you. Oh, man. All right. Last spot we got on this list, best role player on the team. This is a tough one.
I think this is especially tough because I couldn't decide if I'm projecting forward to this year, or we talking about clearly last year. And for me, I feel like right now, who do I believe is the best role player? That's how I took this. Right now, who's going to be the best role player right now? And for me, it had to be Jabari Smith.
Okay.
Jabari Smith plays a very specific role for this team, and I think he accepts that role, and he's working on perfecting it. And I think he took a major step last year, but this is the year I think he kind of adds some real juice to it, and he's gonna get starters minutes. He might see some time at the 5. He's pretty ambidextrous, and as the jumper improves, I think the defense will improve, the toughness, the strength will improve, and I think he's really gonna turn into what do you call it? Swiss Army knife that we think he can be.
I like that. I was gonna go the name that I was thinking as you were kind of teeing up your reasoning for your pick. I was gonna say Tari Eason because at the end of the day, for me, right, like Tari, and it kind of goes back to, we've talked about this before. Like I don't want to paint him into a corner, put him into a box, and say this is what you are. You can't be anything more as an NBA player. I still think there's more than what we see on the surface with Tari, and potentially maybe he evolves and he can, add more to his offensive game, whatever. But as it stands right now, he does what he does, right? He plays this role beautifully. He checks in. He guards usually one of the toughest assignments when he is in the game. He causes chaos on the defensive end of the floor. He gets stops. Offensively, he's never really overextending himself, right? Aside from the times where he becomes maybe a bit of a loose freight train in transition, the blinders are on sometimes. Aside from that, he does what he's supposed to do offensively, park him on the perimeter. He'll try and, knock down the open threes. He'll drive and attack off the catch if possible and try and finish at the rim or just make the next pass. He doesn't, overexert himself or overstep, and he very much stays in his lane. So I had that kind of same mentality, but towards Tari Eason, the same way you applied it to Jabari Smith Jr. But I like the Jabari pick. We're going to roll with that because he's not already on the list, so we'll give him a spot on the list, even though he might take the role player thing as some disrespect. You had to disrespect somebody on this list, huh, Madison? Couldn't end it without upsetting somebody. You know what? The Jabari stands are going to be after us now. It's not the Jalen stands. It's not the Sengun stands. We didn't piss any of them off, but we pissed off the Jabari stands. They're going to come flooding out. There are dozens of us, Madison. Dozens.
I think, look, we got Jabari on the list, man, guys. Give us a break. We're trying to give everybody some love, dog. Just be thankful he didn't get the AJ Griffin spots. Man.
Oh my goodness, those poor AJ Griffin spots, man. He's just racking it up. You know what? So we had a tie, I guess, because AJ Griffin finished with 3 spots. And Alperen Sengun also finished with 3 spots. Alpi finished with best player, best passer, and best in post. So a lot of positivity for Alperen Sengun.
Hey, Houston fans, I am so happy.
I'll have a soundbite for AJ Griffin, but he got most overrated, worst, and most wasted potential. That is brutal for one AJ Griffin. Hopefully, he can prove me and Madison wrong and many other Rockets fans wrong with the turnaround this season. But we want to know how we did on our final NBA grid for the Houston Rockets. Let us know your thoughts in the YouTube comments. Let us know on social media. We're going to post it later on, and you guys can make fun of us, and you guys can tell us where we were wrong, where we were right, all that good stuff. Madison, you know the drill. Let everybody know where to track you down at, man.
And you can find me on Twitter at MadmanLeaks. Come talk Rockets basketball.
That's going to do it for another edition of Locked On Rockets. As always, thank you so much for checking out the show. If you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Just search Locked On Rockets. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we did on our Houston Rockets NBA grid. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And we look forward to having you back right here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball.